Welcome to This Explainer. Look, we're just going to skip the usual pleasantries today because we are diving straight into the heart of a simple but honestly profoundly life-changing concept from Jim Rohn. It's a concept all about the sheer amount of time we actually possess. It's an advantage that costs absolutely nothing, but it has the potential to produce almost everything. It's not some complicated system, it's not a philosophy you have to buy into, and it's definitely not a program you order in the mail. No. It is entirely about how you manage the quietest moments of your day.
All right, let's just sit with this massive number for a second. 5,000. I really want you to keep this number in your head because it represents the exact amount of free, completely uninterrupted hours available to you over the next decade. Seriously, hours that are just sitting there, totally unclaimed, waiting for literally anyone who simply decides to reach out and take them.
So, how exactly do you claim them? Well, it all boils down to this one core philosophy. Get up earlier than the people you compete with. This entire 5,000-hour advantage, it comes from doing one remarkably simple thing that almost nobody does. It's setting your alarm for 5:30 a.m. while the rest of the world, including the very people you're competing with for that promotion, that job, or just that life you want, sleep soundly until 7:30 a.m.
Now, what's really fascinating is how the math practically stacks up here. The compounding effect of time is just incredible. Say you get up at 5:30 a.m. and you have to leave for work at 8 a.m. Well, that gives you 2.5 extra hours. If you knock off 30 minutes for, making your coffee, eating breakfast, getting dressed, you are left with 2 pure, uninterrupted hours. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week is 10 hours. 50 weeks a year gives you 500 hours. And over a decade, boom, that is where we hit our 5,000 hours. Just think about what you could do with 5,000 hours. That is literally enough time to master a whole new trade, write multiple books, or build an entire business on the side.
But hey, it's not just about the sheer volume of time, right? It's really about the quality. We've got to understand why morning hours are mathematically and biologically superior. Just think about that 6 a.m. hour. Your mind is completely fresh, totally untaxed. The phone isn't ringing, nobody is stopping by your desk to chat, and you haven't wasted your willpower on the 20 little decisions you usually make in a morning. You can actually think. Now compare that to 3 p.m. Try solving a hard problem or writing a chapter of a book at 3 in the afternoon. You just can't do it the same way. Your energy is completely spent, your focus is chewed up, and you've been put through the ringer of meetings and interruptions all day. Because of this, one single hour at 6 a.m. is easily worth 2 hours at 3 p.m. No contest. So, knowing all of this, why do so many people who try this method just absolutely crash and burn by day 3? Let's take a beat here, because this next point is the hard truth. You can try to set your alarm for 5:30 a.m. all you want, but if you're staying up until midnight watching TV, your body will absolutely not cooperate. Your willpower will fail you. You simply cannot wake up at 5:30 a.m. for a decade if you are completely ignoring the other end of the equation. Waking up early isn't the trick. Going to bed early is the trick. Which brings us to a highly specific, and I mean literally non-negotiable, time. 9:30 p.m. This is the required bedtime if you actually want to make this strategy work for you. 10 o'clock at the absolute latest. Your body was built to wake up when the sun comes up, but you have to actually give it permission to shut down shortly after the sun goes down. If you try to fix the waking up part without touching your bedtime, you are completely wasting your time. Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. What am I supposed to do with my evening then? Well, the answer is you end it. Think about the sheer logic behind this trade. You are swapping 3 hours of tired, half-dead evening time, which is usually spent just mindlessly watching television, for 2 hours of sharp, unmatched morning focus. And I promise you, you will not miss those useless evening hours between 9 p.m. and midnight. They are worth almost nothing. But those 2 hours you gain in the morning, they are worth almost everything. It is hands down the best swap of hours you will ever get in your life. The Bill Rowland story, why waking up isn't enough. Let's get right into it. Let me tell you how this actually plays out in the real world with a totally average middle-class guy named Bill Rowland. So Bill read in some magazine that successful people get up early, so he decided, hey, I'm going to be an early riser too. But initially, he failed completely, and this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate trap. For 6 solid months, rain or shine, Bill woke up religiously at 5 a.m. And what did he have to show for it after half a year? Absolutely nothing. His income was exactly the same, he hadn't gained a single new skill, his life was identical. Why? Well, here was his routine. He'd make coffee, read the paper, take a quick walk, and do some crosswords. By the time everyone else woke up, Bill had been at it for 2 hours and had built exactly 0. He was just tired earlier in the day. The real turning point came from Bill's very observant friend, Marv.
Mara found out Bill was waking up at 5 a.m. just to get a jump on the day, and he challenged him with this exact question. Bill, what have you been telling everybody for the last 10 years you were going to do as soon as you had time? And Bill knew instantly. Ever since he was 28, he'd been talking at cocktail parties about this novel he wanted to write. He had the characters, the plot, the title, the whole shebang. He just didn't have a single word actually written down.
And man, that single question sparked an incredible timeline of transformation for him. Marv told Bill to stop the coffee, stop the paper, and definitely stop the walks. Starting Monday, it was just going to be Bill and a legal pad for 90 minutes first thing in the morning. So Bill did this every single morning for the next 2 years. Look, some days the writing was terrible, some days he really didn't want to do it, but he did his 90 minutes anyway. 2 years and change later, he actually finished his novel. And a year and a half after that, the book was officially published. His entire life transformed the very second he stopped wasting his mornings and aimed them like a laser beam at his book. So the crucial takeaway here is the lesson Bill learned the hard way. Getting up early did absolutely nothing for him on its own. The secret formula, the thing that actually changes lives, is getting up early combined with the relentless pursuit of one specific thing. Waking up, that's the easy part. Figuring out exactly what that waking up is for, well, that is the piece almost everyone misses.
Listen, if you're going to go through the trouble of getting up at 5:30 in the morning, you absolutely have to define your one thing. And we aren't talking about juggling 5 different hobbies or chasing some vague idea of general self-improvement here. It must be a single, specific goal. It needs a name, it needs a shape, and it has to have a definitive finish line. Whether that's writing a book, building a side business, or finally getting into the absolute best shape of your life, you have to target your 5,000 hours at this solitary goal, and you cannot stop until you cross that finish line. Now, as you keep doing this, day after day, year after year, you develop what is essentially an invisible advantage. This is how it plays out in the real world. Your competition has absolutely no idea you are doing this. Why? Because they are fast asleep. They cannot factor your morning hours into their picture of who you are. As far as they know, you're just a regular person showing up to your regular job at 9 a.m., exactly like them. But quietly, in the dark, you are slowly and inevitably pulling way ahead of the pack. And you know what the funny part is? Years later, when your success finally becomes visible, when the book comes out or the business takes off or that massive promotion lands, the people around you won't be able to compute it. They'll invent every excuse in the book. They'll say, oh, you just got lucky, or you clearly knew somebody important, or they'll just assume you had hidden family money. They will come up with literally any wild explanation rather than admit this simple, boring truth: you just outworked them for thousands of hours while they were sleeping.
To pull that off, you've got to commit to what we call the daily deposit. This is the act of putting 90 completely uninterrupted minutes toward your singular goal immediately upon waking up. But notice the conditions here. This happens before the coffee, before checking the news, before walking the dog. The work must come first. Once those 90 minutes are done, then you can have the coffee and all the other comforts of the morning.
So here it is, your uncompromising blueprint for tomorrow. Step 1 actually happens tonight. You go to bed at 9:30 p.m. Step 2, set the alarm for 5:30 a.m. And when it goes off, there is zero negotiation and absolutely no hitting snooze. The negotiation already happened the night before. Step 3, you sit down at your table with whatever you need, a legal pad, a laptop, whatever it is. And step 4, you execute your 90 minutes on your one thing. I really want to challenge you right now to make tonight night 1 of the rest of your life. I'm going to leave you with this final thought. It is a quiet advantage just sitting there for anyone willing to take it. It's not exclusive, it's just waiting for you. If you commit to that 9:30 p.m. bedtime, that 5:30 a.m. alarm, and those 90 minutes every single morning, I'm telling you, in 3 years, you will not even recognize the person you become. So the only question left to ask yourself right now is this: what time are you setting your alarm for tonight?